Okay, folks, so before I go into those captures of Altair and Arcturus that were showing some really interesting shadows and just it kind of looked like structure and stuff around them. But anyway, I wanted to show some images of what the star and planet alignment was at the time. This was back from August 25th of 2019. This is how they were all lined up. And you can see, there's the horizon there. And there's Jupiter. And I captured quite a bit of Jupiter doing some really strange things. And then Altair up here, I have quite a few captures of Altair because it was just glowing really, really bright. And I believe Nunki was down in this area too at the time. Yeah, there's Nunki. I do have some interesting captures of Nunki where it was presenting some interesting shapes in the middle. And again, there's Altair at the top. Let's see. And then we have Sirius here. Sirius and Rigel, both I have captures of those as well. And they were doing some really interesting things. It was Sirius almost looked like a police light on the low horizon at one point. And then this was Nunki right here that I have some really interesting captures of around this time as well. Let me go back this way. There we go. And there's Antares, and there's Jupiter. And this was Antares. I do have some captures of Antares and Deshuba as well. I did capture some Deshuba. And this was where Arcturus, right here, right in the crotch of this thing here, is located. And you can see there's the horizon. And this was looking to the west. And it was really low on the horizon, but it was glowing really, really, really bright. And I do believe I have some captures of Alcade. And there was a couple other ones up in this area that were glowing really bright that I was able to capture as well. And this was one of the comets that was passing through at the time, the P 2014 U2 Kowalski. And it was kind of passing through the sky at around the same time that a lot of these interesting shadows and effects were occurring around there. And I did capture some more of these stars that were up here in the Pisces constellation as well, which is my birth constellation, according to the legends and the mysteries about the astrological sciences, as some people call them. But anyway, there's Sirius. And there's Rigel. I do have some captures of those ones. And now, at the time as well, going on below the horizon on the opposite end, there was supposedly this great dimming of Betelgeuse going on. And there was this other comet and stuff that was occurring. It was zipping through the sky as well. And this was another one of the comments they called 289P bland pain that would have been coming right up through the sky around the same time I was capturing a lot of these interesting effects. And they just give a plain description in general. A comet will spend billions of years in the Kuiper belt or Oort cloud. And there's Fomalhaut right here, right in the nose of the fish, the southern fish. And that's the one that I was capturing last night that was doing some really interesting stuff on the low horizon. It was really trippy, some of the focal points, so I'll try and get that video uploaded and share that too. But just to give you an idea and the perspective of where the stars were aligned and the planets when I was capturing some of these really weird things going on. And there's Deshuba right down in here. I do have some captures of Deshuba and Antares, Jupiter. And again, there's Arcturus, kind of giving an idea of the location of it in the sky to show kind of the perspective of where these stars that were doing these really weird things were located at. So, and let me see, let me minimize, let me get rid of that one. Yeah, so this one here, this is where it was starting to focus in on this weird stuff as well, but I'm going to show the videos and everything first. So, okay, so this is the Arcturus capture, and then I have the Altair capture as well, but let me go to full screen on this and see if I can get the play button. There it is. And I'm going to play it forward here. I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. But this was our view of Arcturus back on August 25th of 2019. And it looked to me like there was something just um, in between our view and the view of the light source they called Arcturus. And it almost looks like through some of this here that there's some kind of activity that happens on this opposite side of this ball of light too. And I did pull out some of the frames. I'll look at those a little bit closer, but I just want to let this play forward. And like I said in the beginning, showing the star map, this would have been low on the horizon and it was glowing really bright. It was doing some really interesting things and focal points. But before I could really get focused in on the actual light source itself, it was wanting to focus in on something else. The camera was on autofocus, so all I did was kind of adjust the light in and out of it. And this, I had taken all of the light out of it. But you would think because of all this extra noise and light that I had the light all the way up. I didn't. I had it turned all the way down. I had the brightness turned all the way down because like this right here, there were moments where it was just emitting this high amount of energy and noise into the capture that I couldn't remove enough light. And of course, I mean, it was on the low horizon. And in our perspective, in our location, it would have been almost directly above the Las Vegas Strip. So you have all of those lights coming up from underneath, too. So it's a wonder I'm even able to capture anything on that low horizon. But when I aimed my camera at a really bright light called Arcturus, which just happens to be the same light that they claim that they had harnessed the energy from back in 1933, of all dates, which lit up some lights at the fairgrounds at the 1933 World's Fair. This was the star that they said they used, Arcturus. And you can look it up. I've done a few videos pointing it out and showing it, but I just find it really curious that this weird shape and outline in this like weird shadow eclipse thing was occurring at the same time when they were saying that there was this great dimming going on with Betelgeuse, which would have been at this time, according to the star maps, back in August 25th of 2019. Betelgeuse was kind of like on the opposite side of Arcturus here that you're seeing in this capture. And or some of the light source from it. Eventually it does get focused in on the actual light source, and I do have a capture of that too. I'll pull this forward a little bit, but just so you can kind of get an idea, at the beginning of the capture here, the camera was wanting to focus in on something other than the light source of Arcturus. And then it just kind of passes through. You can see it's kind of moving over in the very top, and then eventually it focuses in on the light source and shows a little more detail, which ends up being pretty curious too when I, kind of adjusted some of the extracts and the color in them. Yeah, and right through there, it almost looks like there's some kind of a weird bulge going on this opposite side as well. So it was strange. And I was capturing the same effect around quite a few other stars throughout the end of 2018 and then into 2019. So I don't know. At a time when they were talking about how Betelgeuse was doing this great dimming, I'm capturing all this weird stuff going on with all these other planetary bodies and stars and everything. Let me go to a full screen on this one too. And now this is when it finally wanted to start focusing in on something other than whatever that big object was moving through the sky there. So, and I pulled out some of these frames. I'll go through these frames and look at them a little bit closer with the magnifying glass. Yeah, right there. There's just like some kind of weird thing going on right there, right in the middle. It almost looks like the shape and the outline of a bell, like a bell housing or something. But it was presenting some interesting colors too, and more of that really weird look and structure and outline on the very outside edges of it. And I was capturing the same effect on quite a few other stars. Not all of them, but quite a few other ones that were presenting this weird shapes and objects around these light sources they call stars and planets. That is really trippy there. And again, I'll look at the extracts a little bit closer, go frame by frame, and show them with the little looking glass thing, the little magnifier. And there's some of these parts where I swear it's focusing in on the outside edge and what looks like rocket booster parts, like rocket engine parts, that like what I see from the space programs. It's trippy. I don't know. I do know that I have quite a few captures of these weird effects. Enough of them that it has occurred around enough of these stars and these lights that they call stars and planets that I have to question, if it's something that is just kind of my camera's just picking up some kind of a random object or something that's shooting through our sky there, why does it appear to move with the light sources? It appears to be part of the light sources, these weird like looking structures and unnatural shapes and things around these lights. They call stars and planets. So yeah, and I have quite a few other captures of like Benetnash and Altair and stuff too that I'll eventually share. But I want to go through some of these frames here. Yeah, this here, man, that right there, it looks like. Yeah, so I can go into, I think it's this one. Yeah, these are the individual frames here. You can kind of see the outline of that shadow there where it starts to come into view. Let me adjust the color. Pull out the little color thingy here. Oh, let's put that over there. Now you kind of see a little bit of shadow going on right there. A little bit of activity right there. But let's see. Let's get up to some of these frames where it really shows the outline. Well, that's an interesting color. Yeah. I think we're quite into where the shadow is coming across. Yeah, there's some of it there at the bottom right edge. You can see right here where it looks a little bit funky, like it's a weird shape. Yeah. Still trying to focus. Yeah, right there you can see a little bit more of that shadowing right there. I don't know, something pretty large was in between us and our view of Arcturus back on that date. Yeah, it looks kind of like the distortion right up here on that top left side too. Yeah, there you can kind of see. Wow, yeah. Weird. Let's do an auto level. Yeah. Yeah, right in through there. That's weird. Alright, well, here's a drinking game for you. If you're a drinker, you gotta drink every time I say the word weird. Yeah. Yeah, see right there, it almost looks like it's starting to form that shape of a hook that eventually comes into focus. Oh, it's not a lag. There we go. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. And now it's rounded. Yeah, and again, because I'm repetitive, I'll say it again. I'll probably say it more than once. Again, I have the camera set on like an autofocus. I point and shoot. I'm not like a professional photographer. Obviously, you can tell that I'm an amateur, but most of the time I can set it on an autofocus setting and it'll focus in on things automatically. Like it has that, yeah, there's that hooky looking thing. It has a setting where I can adjust the light in and out of it. But in this particular capture here, I had the light turned all the way down. Like I was saying, there was so much noise in between us and Arcturus and whatever this thing was that the camera just wanted to keep focusing in on whatever that big shadow thing right there is. And I just point and shoot. I see something in the sky that I want to capture, and I turn the camera on and focus, and I'm looking at it through the autofocus. And when it's in view and focused, I hit record. But there was a lot of extra noise.